Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of We All Grieve. My name is Kay Rogers, your host. I am joined by a good friend of mine, Brent Rassi. We just had a conversation on the proper way to say the last name, so I got it right, I hope. Welcome to the show, Brent. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I really appreciate you being here. So, we're friends on Facebook, and I've been following you, and there's one of these things that you do, which I think is just amazing. And you have a group on there, and it's called That Bearded Jerk, right?
Correct.
And so can you just give me, maybe for the audience here, just give us a little idea of what that is and what you're doing with that?
So what That Bearded Jerk is a Facebook group that I created where I make handcrafted beef jerky as a hobby. I create different flavors, different textures, different types of meat. Well, going back, we do a lot with StJude, and through the current pandemic and such, we have lost a lot of donations and events and things like that to raise money for StJude. And so I figured we could take a hobby and put it together and give people something for their donations. So That Bearded Jerk is a StJude driven fundraiser group where we take the handcrafted beef jerky and we use it to raise money for the cause that we are. And it's kind of extended a little farther than that, to where now we're helping other smaller groups and other fundraisers and things. We have a very large audience with it, so we have a lot of people watching the page. We have a lot of interest and a lot of support. So we're kind of just moving forward with that and growing the group as it is to be a general fundraiser for different charities.
So when you started the group originally, how many people did you have?
When I started the group, it kind of just was one of those things where I started it thinking 20, 30 people was just going to talk about trucks and beef jerky. It was one of those things where it was just like, hey, I started a group without really even talking to anybody. It was I created it on Facebook, and I knew it was going to be a jerky group, and I wanted to come up with a play on words. Now, when I started it, I created That Bearded Jerk just as a play on words that, hey, you could be, hey, there's that bearded jerk as in a person,
right. Or,
it's a play on words for jerky. Jerk used to be an old form term that it wasn't always jerky. It was like, you could have beef jerk.
Right.
So that's where the name kind of came from. And then overnight, it kind of evolved. We had about 150 people in the first day. Once I added a couple friends, they added a couple friends, and then somebody else added 10 more. And it blew up to about 150 people, within the first day or two of starting this group, which was mind-blowing at that time. It was kind of whoa, where did this come from? Like, what? Yeah. Now I got to figure out how to keep up with it.
Yeah, now I got to do something everybody wants to keep joining. So that was how long ago?
April 26th of 2020, I started the group itself.
And so here we are at the end of July, and where are you at now?
Just over 865 people are now in the group, and it's growing by the day. It seems every time somebody sees me, we talk about jerky, all of a sudden, they're added to the group and they're adding their friend and, their friend's adding their friend. So it just keeps blowing up as it is.
And, I make jerky too. Now, I don't make as many flavors as you do, and some of yours look amazing. And we were talking just a little bit ago about the Bloody Mary one. I'm excited about that one. So I'm going to be buying some raffle tickets for that because I got to give that a try, dude.
Right. Well, the Bloody Mary is going to be an exciting one. That's an unreleased flavor as of today. Now, on the next go-around of what we call Availability Day, and we can get into what Availability Day is and how the group works, I'm going to release the Bloody Mary. And if you have any interest in Bloody Mary drinks, this jerky is going to be something that you're going to beg for more. It's amazing how it came out. The flavor's all profile. The texture is there. It's a phenomenal flavor. But I've created a lot of flavors for myself. And I'm a cook outside of jerky itself at home, not professionally. But I like to grill, I like to bake and things like that. So I kind of mix flavor profiles from different things.
Yeah.
And I've made some really out there flavors, but nothing has ever come back as being, I wouldn't do it again. Every one of my flavors has come out to be delicious. So.
Well, you got a good palate. You know what you like, right?
Yeah, of course. I just like to eat.
Yeah, well, me too. That's why I have a height problem. That's what I'm going with anyway. But, I've just recently dove into making my own homemade barbecue sauce.
Okay.
I start with blanching the tomatoes, peeling them, pureeing them. I start from scratch. I make the whole thing homemade, and I'm kind of to the point where you're at. I'm playing with different flavors. They all come out good, but what's more to my palate? What's one I think somebody else would like? And the other thing I was actually looking into starting to do is make some homemade mustard.
Okay, yeah.
And that's going to be kind of a neat, and mustard's a little interesting to make, and I'm not going to get into that now. But so back to that bearded jerk. So you're doing this, you're creating this jerky. You have the availability days, and we can get into all that. But let's take it back just a little bit. So what drove you to want to start the group, and what kind of drove you to be doing this? Because you put a lot of time into this.
So, the time started out with, again, going back, and everybody's tired of hearing about the pandemic and the current, situation of the world. I started working from home through the shelter in place, and I had a little bit of extra time for my day job. I'm an outside sales rep for an electrical distribution company. So a lot of the times I was on the road traveling from customer to customer. So I started using that little extra time throughout the days to start a batch of beef jerky and throw it in, and just get things done while I'm working my regular job from the basement.
Yeah, kind of doing both.
But where the StJude side of that bearded jerk comes from is in 1998 I was diagnosed with mucoepidermoid carcinoma. Now that's a big mouthful for a really rare cancer. So mucoepidermoid carcinoma, when you break it down, it's so it's a saliva gland cancer. I had a tumor that came up in my right side parotid. I was the 17th case in the United States to be found with this type of cancer as a child. You
can just pull it closer to you if you want.
Okay.
That way you can lean back. They're movable.
So I was the 17th case to be found with this type of cancer as a child. There was really no set treatments for it. There was nothing that really was set up to know what was going to happen. I had a 3-year prognosis on, me passing away or something along that level. What this cancer does is it affects your nervous system, shuts down your lungs pretty much while you're sleeping. Once it actually gets into the nervous system itself, there's no stopping it. There's no chemo, no radiation, no treatments to stop it. So,
and how old were you at the time?
I was 12 years old. It was 1998. We found it in January. I actually had 5 cysts that came up inside that parotid gland that weren't actually tied to the cancer themselves. There was nothing that would have tied it. It was just kind of a random coincidence that I had cysts and a tumor that came up, and I had a large knot sticking out the side of my neck that my stepmom and dad had saw one day just looking at me. All of a sudden, randomly, a knot was on the side of my face. So I underwent a bunch of research and things. I had MRIs, CAT scans. We traveled from St. Louis to Chicago to Iowa City to all these different doctors, and nobody really wanted to touch it. So on March 11th, we ended up getting a biopsy done. They went in, they cut the neck open, they took a biopsy, and it was sent to the University of Arizona. The University of Arizona came back with, this has got to be removed immediately. If you don't get it removed immediately, the outcome is going to be, pretty detrimental to what happens. So that was on March 11th. On April 23rd of 1998, we bounced around to a few different doctors, but we managed to find a doctor at the University of Illinois, Chicago at Cook County. His name was Dr. Barry Winnig. He came in and we met with him, and he's like, let's do it. Let's get this done. Let's get this started. We need to get this process going. So we scheduled the surgery and everything. And then on April 23rd, he went back in and kept the same margins and went right over the same scar from the previous surgery 2 months earlier so that there wasn't going to be any damage. He spent over 3.5 hours plucking the cancer from the outside of the nerve, and they managed to get enough margins that they felt comfortable that I would not have to undergo the radiation and the chemotherapy, because chemotherapy would not have affected the cancer, and radiation, frankly, would have hurt me more than it would have affected the cancer itself.
So the cure was worse than the disease at that time.
Exactly. So we went through all that. They did end up removing my entire right side parotid gland. Well, going back to 1998, I was 12 years old. I was in 6th grade. I had a massive patch on the side of my face, going back to school. I have like a large divot in the side of my neck where I don't have a parotid gland. And I underwent a little bit of bullying at that time, from the other kids. And looking back, I could have been stronger about it, but it really upset me, that I didn't understand cancer. All I knew is I had a major surgery, and now I'm being made fun of for it at school, and at that time I was also in Boy Scouts, and one of my mentors in Boy Scouts, his name's Rusty Thompson. We happened to be at a campground one day. We were in the kitchen, and he cracked a joke that, hey man, grow a beard someday, it'll look cool and chicks will dig it, and nobody will ever know it was there. So, from then on, it was always like, hey, I want to grow a beard. I want to do something cool here. So, as I grew older, it kind of turned into one of those things where before I could grow a beard, it really wasn't a thought process anymore. Just overall having the cancer turned into a different outlook for me. It was a happy prognosis that, I survived something that could have taken my life that I had no choice about. And I wanted to do something for it. So through high school, my senior year of high school, I did multiple reports on mucoepidermoid carcinoma. And that's a big word, and I say it fast. A lot of people don't understand.
I'm not even going to attempt to say that.
So, but I did a bunch of reports on it, and then in 2004, I was the honorary survivor for Relay for Life. I was approached by the American Cancer Society to kind of give a speech and stuff and be an honorary survivor for them. So we did a little bit of fundraising for the American Cancer Society with the Relay for Life in East Peoria. And then from there, it kind of progressed that as we got older, I love what the American Cancer Society does and everything, but it wasn't where my heart was. My heart came back to childhood cancers. I wanted to kind of help that. So we got involved with StJude. And StJude Rides is a local affiliation of the StJude fundraising group out of Peoria, the StJude affiliation. And we got involved with that, riding our motorcycles from Peoria to Memphis. And me and my wife got involved with that back in 2012. We started raising everything we could. The first year we raised $2,800 just asking people for donations. The second year, and it's progressed every year. Second year, we got over $5,000 in donations. And we started picking up little different raffles and having different small events and asking different people ways of making money. We would travel out of state to friends. I have a friend that has a racetrack in Kansas City. And we'd go down there, we'd tell the story, we'd pass a hat, raise a couple $1,000s in a night on 50-50 tickets, things like that.
That's awesome.
So back in 2015, my beard was 13 inches long. And I agreed that if we could raise over $5,000 that year, I would clean shave. We ended up raising just close to $7,500 that year. So I clean shaved. It wasn't a pretty look. It was the first time my wife had ever seen me with no facial hair. And so we did, really well that year, and it was really exciting. So moving forward, I kind of kept a clean shave look. I kept, it wasn't clean shave. I had a goatee and different beards at different times, but I never grew it back out until, over the last year. We were actually at StJude last year on the ride, and I decided, I was like, the beard's coming back. So it's been 10 months growing what I currently have.
That is insane, dude. I can't grow a beard in 3 months. Nothing like that anyway.
Yeah, so this is 10 months of growing. And now that we've founded an entire fundraising group off of it, I don't think I'm allowed to shave it ever again.
No. And so just so the audience knows, your beard's probably, 8 inches long now?
Roughly, it's getting there. Yeah,
in 10 months.
Yeah. So
you were meant to have a beard, man. Yeah, that's just you were meant to have a beard.
Exactly. It's about the only place I can grow hair because the top of my head really doesn't do much. So.
Well, that's funny because my wife asked me this morning. She goes, "Is he bald?" I said, "Oh yeah, he doesn't have any hair up there. Yeah. He keeps it clean shaven."
Right. So we got involved, and then that's kind of evolved into what it is, and we push ourselves every year, and we shoot for the stars every year. If you were to ask me, could you raise 100,000? I'd say probably not, but I'll give it a go. I'm not willing to quit. There is no threshold. The minimum to participate in the ride itself is $1,000 for the ride or $500 for a passenger. So we could sit back and say $1,500. I'll raise that in a day and be done, and I don't have to do that. But that's not good enough for me and my wife Brandy. We take it one step further that there's never enough. There's never going to be a time that we have raised enough money to where we just don't care anymore. This is a year-round thing for us. This is something we push ourselves because, frankly, every dollar counts. We've had people that have offered us 83 cents for a donation, and I will take 83 cents. I'll take every cent, every dollar, every $100 bill I can get, because that dollar could be what saves a child's life. And one of the things I like to throw out there when I'm talking to people and things, if you could look at your child and somebody were to tell you that they're sick and it's going to take $100 to cure whatever sickness they have, and you know that $100 will cure it, how fast could you come up with $10,000? There's never an amount that's enough to stop what we do. We want to go above and beyond, and we want to make sure that St. Jude keeps doing what they do every day in saving kids' lives, because what it is amazing. They don't ask for anything in return. You don't receive a bill. You don't receive any kind of money asked for anything. You get at St. Jude.
The care is provided free of charge. They're going to take care of these kids.
100%. Everything is taken care of. Everything from housing of the families to food for the families to if the kids need clothing and things like that, schooling on site at St. Jude. These families are 100% taken care of by the hospital, and they don't want anything back. One year we were doing a tour of the hospital, and we got to talking to one of the people, and there was a family that they were telling us their story, and this family got a prognosis, and the doctor told them, you need to be on your way to St. Jude right now. This child has to get to the hospital right now. They showed up at 3 a.m. at the St. Jude Hospital, and that's something where most people would have gotten a hotel room, and they would have, waited until 8 o'clock the next morning. They showed up to the hospital at 3 a.m. Somebody was standing at the front door, holding the front door open, and they had a stuffed teddy bear for the kid. And they said, come in. We've got a place for you to stay. We've got an apartment. There's already food in the fridge. You're taken care of. You're here. Everything's okay. We're gonna make sure that, you have the best outcome it is. When you go to St. Jude, these kids are losing a part of their social life and their social growing as they go through their treatments. St. Jude will make sure that child, if that child's goal at 5 years old is to learn how to ride a bike, St. Jude's going to go out and buy a bike, and they're going to teach them how to ride that bike down the halls of St. Jude. If there's a high school student that's going to miss their prom, St. Jude will take their ballroom or an open emergency room or something, and they will decorate it, and they will bring that kid's family and friends down and give a prom right there at the hospital for these kids.
So it's not just the medical care, it's your overall, they care about the person.
Care about your life
and
your
life.
well-being, and they will follow you for the rest of your life as well. So a child that's been treated by St. Jude will be followed until they're 40, 50, 60 years old to make sure that the treatments they've got at that hospital are still working and they're still going. Because what St. Jude does is 3 floors up from the treatment, you've got laboratories where there's doctors working round the clock, looking for different ways to treat things and treat different diseases and things. And they can take those treatments right downstairs and say, try this. This is working in our lab. We need to try this on this child. This is how it's going to fix it. But just throw a country out there, Bangladesh. If there's a child that has the same disease in Bangladesh, a lot of hospitals and things don't go above and beyond to send that research to other places. St. Jude doesn't ask questions. Automatically, it's do this. This is what you need to do. This is what needs to happen to save that child's life. It's not about the money to them. It's not about, the honor and the respect. It's about saving that child's life, and that's what they push themselves to do.
So, and it's care without borders.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. There is no question about what they do or what they're there for. It's not about the money. We have a friend, Beth, that's a doctor at the St. Jude Hospital, and we got to meet her a few years ago, and we look forward to meeting her every year because she's from Dunlap, Illinois. And she's right there doing the research right along with it. And she's right there with the kids and doing the treatments and helping out. But when she was, I believe the story goes, she was in kindergarten, she lost her best friend to cancer. And in kindergarten, she decided she was going to work for St. Jude someday. And that's exactly what she does. Dr. Beth goes above and beyond. She's a complete sweetheart. We love what she does. We love seeing her because she cares about the kids and about the families. And she wants to make sure that we keep raising that survival rate with every chance she has.
Yeah, because any time, I mean, like your question you asked earlier, if you could cure your child for $100, how quick could you get 10,000? Well, I think that's any parent would tell you, I'd find a way, any way I could, right? I can tell you, if there was a way I could have saved my son and somebody told me, look, if you can find $100 to save your son, I'd have had it in 5 minutes.
Right.
Who wouldn't? And so this is what they do every day. This is their mission. Their mission is they're going to find a way to save every child that they can save, regardless of the cost. They don't care about the money. They're just going to make that happen. And they're not even just going to do it here. They're going to share that knowledge, and hopefully that can spread through the whole world, and we can save more children.
Right.
That's an amazing mission.
It is. And a lot of people don't realize when we start talking about StJude and the money, the hospital doesn't care about the money. It wasn't founded on them making money, but the money has to come from somewhere. And that's where a lot of the local fundraisers and things happen. And for Peoria, Illinois, a lot of people don't realize that the Children's Hospital at OSF St. Francis is the Midwest affiliate. So when you start talking about the Midwest affiliate, the Children's Hospital in Peoria, Illinois is second in the world to StJude. They actually do cancer research and treatments right in our own backyard. And that's where a lot of it is. Jim Maloof, the realtor company, but the actual guy, Jim Maloof, actually helped to found StJude Hospital in Memphis with Danny Thomas.
Really?
Yeah. So that's where a lot of the stuff in Peoria comes from.
So the Peoria to Memphis ride, the run, the everything that is always Peoria to Memphis. I was wondering about that, where those two correlate. So that closes that loop. That makes sense.
Yeah. So Peoria is second in the world to StJude, and actually at one point when the StJude or the Children's Hospital in Peoria was founded, and they revamped it and everything, they were higher up in the treatment and technology than the actual StJude Hospital in Memphis. So StJude Hospital in Memphis had to build a whole other wing of their hospital to
well, we can't have that happen, right?
Well, yeah. So, which I mean is very cool for us because again, it puts it right in our own backyard and it makes it real every day. And that's one of the things that, I think, and it's not just cancer and it's not just kids. A lot of people kind of get in the mindset of it won't happen to me. It won't happen to anybody I know. So that's where donations are really hard to come by. But the reality is, a kid could fall down on a playground and get a headache the next day, and you're finding out they have a brain tumor or something. There is no rhyme or reason to childhood cancer. It's not like they smoked their entire life and now they have lung cancer. Childhood cancer does not pick and choose by anything that you do. It's just something that happens.
It's
like
just a bad genetic thing that happens.
Right.
Well, and I think if most people took enough time to ask enough people, they probably know somebody somewhere where their lives have been touched by StJude.
Right.
Because there is, unfortunately, there are that many kids out there that need that kind of help.
Right.
They need it.
Yeah. So that's where, we kind of found it, and that's where, that bearded jerk kind of stepped in, and we created this group on the terms of we were going to talk jerky and trucks to some friends, but then we kind of saw it as an opportunity that, hey, I have the attention of all these people. Why not use it to my ability to raise extra money? We were like, me and my wife this year, we were thinking, how are we going to raise $1,500? We raised $13,100 in 2019. We ended up raising, that $13,100. How are we even going to raise $1,500 when we can't have an event? We can't have a fundraiser that, where we can get people together and have the silent auctions and the raffles. And my wife's on the committee for the Central Illinois Mom Prom. And that's a huge event for Central Illinois that raised money for StJude. And now that that's been canceled, what do we do? Well, that bearded jerk overnight turned into a massive fundraising event for us. And this year so far, we're just over $11,000 raised. Now, I can't attribute all of that to that bearded jerk because we do get monetary donations from other people that are substantial amounts. But we are probably $5,000 to $6,000 in beef jerky donations,
and just since April,
just since April 26th, and that's one thing that we kind of stress big time. We don't sell beef jerky. You donate to St. Jude and you get a gift of beef jerky.
Correct. Yep, that's right. Yep.
Nothing is for sale.
Nope.
So that's kind of where we kind of took this group, and again, we're just shy of 900 people in this group, and we have a backlog, of people. Our last availability day, and I want to kind of break into that before I start talking about availability day, so people can kind of get an idea of what availability day.
Yeah. So why don't you talk us through the process if somebody wanted to get some of that jerky to help St. Jude? What does that look like? So
availability day is a day that I created because obviously being a one-person show and making jerky, I'll say one person, my wife is a tremendous help to the process for me, but the recipes and things like that, the meat slicing, that all comes back to me now. We had a good friend, Amanda Rudd, that was cutting all the meat for us. I sit and I create all this stuff. I make this jerky. It's hard to make enough jerky for 900 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of jerky.
It's a lot of time.
It's extreme. It's a second full-time job as it is. So what I did was I created an availability day, and it's more of a first come, first serve. So I'll announce 2 to 3 weeks ahead of a time that a certain day is going to be the quote-unquote availability day. And the last one was on June 20th. So on June 20th, a few weeks ahead of time, I had announced, hey, we're going to have availability day. We put it out there on the page. We announce it. We keep saying it. And it's an automated post. I type it up a week ahead of time with all of my inventory. I have so many packs of this flavor and so much of that. And all of it's going live at 8 a.m. on such and such date. And it's literally a first come, first serve. You have to comment on the post. You have to message me and let me know what flavor you want, how much of each flavor you want. And that's how you get your jerky. And it's unfortunate that I can't make more because it seems like I would sell out of everything I could make, even if I could make more.
Well, every time I think I'm going to get on there and do something, it's sold out. I'm like, gosh, dang, man, that stuff goes quick.
So on June 20th, we started out with 188 packages of jerky. Now, each pack is a 1/4 pound package, and that equals 47 pounds of jerky that I had available. At $10 donation per pack, that would have been an $1,880 donation for us to be able to go to St. Jude. We were completely out of inventory in 4 hours. I mean, from start to finish, and frankly, we should have been out in about 2.5 hours, but we had like one pack that sat out that nobody picked up. And it wasn't that they didn't just see it. It's just they opened it up, saw everything was gone other than the very last item had one pack left.
They're like, but I don't want just one.
Right. So, close to a $2,000 donation in 2.5 hours, of just jerky. Well, that $2,000 donation really means a lot. And where that $2,000 donation comes from is if you do the math out and you break it down by day, by hour, by minute, it costs almost $1,900 a minute to run the St. Jude Hospital.
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that it costs somewhere around, $7 million a day or something like that to run St. Jude. It's a pretty big number. I mean,
it's like 2.1 million is how it breaks out to be, but that's per day. And I'm not really clarified on how that breaks out for like salaries and things like that. I know it includes water and cable and things like that.
Well, still, I mean, that's the cost of running St. Jude every day. I mean,
right. So $2.1 million a day, all funded by donations. And by people that are coming out. There's no insurance getting charged. There's no people that have to meet their deductible before their child gets saved. It's coming from donations of people. So
no waiting for approval on the treatments.
Yeah,
and
right.
Is this considered experimental? We deny it and all that jazz.
Exactly. So going back to June 20th, we were able to raise $1,880, and people give extra. So, they may buy or may donate $20 for the jerky, but instead they donate $30.
Right.
So we were able to, bring in more, but we were able to run the entire St. Jude Hospital for a full minute off of beef jerky. I mean, that's
really cool if you think about that, man. That's cool.
It's something that comes real, and it gives you goosebumps when you think of, beef jerky just saved a kid's life. That minute was what it took for somebody else to find a cure for what that kid had. And we were able to do it with something I created with my own hands, with a recipe that I threw together and mixed it up. So as I sit here, like I said, I get goosebumps talking about it because we love what St. Jude does.
And all your time that you put into this is a labor of love. You make nothing off of this.
I make nothing off of this. So everything we do with St. Jude, or with That Bearded Jerk for St. Jude, we donate everything. 100% of the monetary donations from Availability Day go to St. Jude. We have people that look up our page, and we've got an Amazon account where you can go on and you can look at lists and stuff, and people can donate teriyaki sauce, or they can donate, bags and marinade and things like that. And that's kind of how we work towards ourselves of making this completely 100% donated. It's not a 50% goes to St. Jude, 50% goes to our pocket. It's 100% on those availability days. Everything goes straight to St. Jude.
Wow, that's amazing, dude. So, that is amazing. And I knew when I seen that on there, and I'd seen your story on there about your past with St. Jude and what you had to go through as a child. I thought, man, I got to get him on the podcast. Now, I'm not a Joe Rogan, right? I don't have millions of people, but if this is just if I can get a few of my listeners just to think about it and donate a little bit, I'm going to feel pretty good about that, because it is and especially, for my past with what I went through, it's very important to me. If we can save one child, if it takes that one extra dollar and help that one kid, man, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? I mean, and it's a crazy time we all live in. Like you said, it's craziness. But I think what you've done is you've taken, you took what you went through. You guys, when we were what I call pre-COVID, where we all took everything for granted. I think, you were doing the motorcycle ride, you were still involved with it, but then you looked at this as a challenge and said, we're going to find another way to make money for St. Jude, and we're going to keep doing it. You didn't just give up because of, we can't leave our homes, or we've got to work from home, and we can't have a motorcycle ride, and can't have more than 50 people together and all this stuff. Well, you said, but we got Facebook, and we got hundreds of people together, and we can still reach that audience and still raise that money. That's commendable, dude. That's amazing. And that's a story that I think it should motivate people to really step up to the challenges that are in front of us and say, how can we get inventive? How can we be creative? How can we think outside the box and still get done what we want to get done? And that's what keeps people doing things. That's what keeps things growing. And we can continue to help the St. Jude affiliates and keep them kids getting better and saving their lives. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, and that's where we're going with the group. It's not something that we're going to blow it off for, a different fundraiser next year. We're hoping to grow this and keep it going. Now, mind you, I don't get to magically clone myself and make more jerky, but we can continue to keep growing and keep getting those donations and keep things going for future years to come. I mean, my face now is a logo.
Yeah, I got it right here.
I mean, people are going to see that face and say That Bearded Jerk, and then the little slogan, eating jerky, saving lives. You're able to get something that's delicious while at the same time you get to save a kid's life. So eating jerky, saving lives, That Bearded Jerk, it's a logo. It's going to be something that has become a trademark name, or something that people know when they hear it, what it means and what we're doing for the families of St. Jude. And then we've extended it again farther. I talked a little bit earlier on how we've started helping other causes,
sure,
and things like that. So we have a friend, Ryan Abbott. He has created a mobile sensory museum for autistic and special needs children. And what this mobile sensory museum is, it's basically this huge enclosed car trailer that he turned into a city museum on wheels. So inside this trailer, there's tunnels, there's lights, there's lasers that you can ride on glowing walls. There's all kinds of Legos you build, and you pull a big hammer and it smashes your entire tower inside of an enclosure. And the guy, I have a huge respect for him, and I actually am a little envious of his abilities and his talents. He's almost a maniacal genius, because I go in this trailer and it's built for kids, but I could spend hours in there. I'm like, this is really wasn't cool.
Well, let's just face it. We're like big kids. That's all we are,
exactly,
right? We never get it.
Exactly. So what that bearded jerk did was we stepped out and we decided that we were going to help him through his cause in trying to raise money to keep his mobile sensory museum going. So his mobile sensory museum is called That Kid Place. So if you look up That Kid Place on Facebook, you'll come across it. And what he does is with this mobile sensory museum and this custom semi-truck he built, he pulls it around and he does events. He'll do birthday parties. He'll do festivals and carnivals and things like that. And all he asks is for a small donation to kind of pay for the time of the truck. He's a nonprofit. He paid for this entire thing out of pocket, taking loans for himself. And through COVID, he kind of lost a lot of his donations and donators and events that he was going to do. So we stepped up and we decided that bearded jerk was going to help him keep his cause going as well, because it's not about, just about cancer. What we want to do is we want to help all kids. Children are the face of this world. They're what's going to have to keep going, and we need to make sure that on all levels, we're providing them the health that they need, or the health care that they need, and the different things to keep them moving forward.
Yeah, because I think, to your point, even, this sensory trailer that he's got, I mean, that's a big thing to children's mental health. Mm-hmm. And especially right now with what we have going on and the inability for the kids to, you can just pull it towards you. Yeah, there you go. The inability of the kids to get that socialization that they need, or that sensory development that they need, or that really in a lot of kids, I mean, that's how they get their release, right? That's how they get that energy out or deal with their stresses from the day. And we need to recognize that. I mean, they need that. And I think what he's doing, to your point, is very important, because I think we're going to see, and this is just me guessing, but I think we're going to see a rise in some depression and some mental health issues, not just in the adults, but in children too. And people need to recognize their mental health is just as important, right? Because that's their development going forward. And that will have long-term impacts on them if we don't recognize that and don't do these things that can continue to keep them developing and keep them sensory issues satisfied. They need that. So where's he out of?
He lives in Carlock, and as the story goes, last time I talked to him, he actually tried to set something up in Bloomington, Illinois as a stationary location. Now, I don't know, I don't want to go into the deep details because it's his setup and his thing.
Right.
But he was basically, he took it to the Bloomington City Council that he wanted to build this museum. And the Bloomington City Council said that, well, that's an excellent idea. We love it, but why do we need you? So he said, okay, that's fine. I'll create it myself. Yeah. And that's where it comes for the mobile sensory museum, is he basically put it in a trailer because he can take it anywhere you want him to. He can go to any town. He can pull it up in front of your house if you want to have a birthday party. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, my son's, actually today is my son's 10th birthday. So tomorrow we're having a party with That Kid Place. And he's bringing the trailer out, and we're going to let the kids play in the trailer and, do all this stuff. And I love Ryan's attitude on things. And he's like, if you can break it, I didn't build it good enough. Let them have fun. There's no such thing as, hey, go easy on this part here. He's like, if you can break it, I'll build it better next time.
Yeah, I'm going to build it kid-proof, right?
Have fun,
Yeah, let's face it, because they will find a way to break it. Somehow, some way. They're inventive.
Exactly.
So I like his challenge with that. If you can break it, I'll build it better next time.
Right. So tomorrow we're having him out for my son's birthday and just to have that. And I mean, fortunately, knock on wood, my son is completely healthy. He's not got any special needs or anything like that, but I will tell you, he loves this museum. A lot of people, and the motive behind it is the autism and is the special needs and the sensory, but any kid at all would love this museum. Like I said, I can walk in it and I can have fun in it for a while, and I'm a 34-year-old grown adult. I mean, it's
I'm with you. I'm there. I mean, I love that stuff. It's so much fun. You never stop having fun with that kind of stuff. So
right.
imagine the excitement from any child. Right. They don't just have to be special needs or on the spectrum. Just any child, man. That stuff's cool. They
right.
love that stuff. That's awesome that you're gonna do that for them.
Right. So yeah, that's like I said, that's what that bearded jerk wants to do. Is we want to extend ourselves and kind of help some of these causes, and just putting our name out there, and we're having raffles and things like that to kind of raise money for this and raise money for that, because again, our heart and soul is with StJude. We love what they do. We love their mission and all that, but there is other needs out there, and that's kind of where we've extended to help our friends and their causes as well.
So now you've done some other things too to help raise a little bit of money besides just the jerky. So for example, these amazing shirts you and I are wearing.
Exactly.
Which I'm going to tell you a story about this shirt. So I wore it to work. I think it was last Thursday or Friday. I can't remember what day. But anyway, I got off work. I went down I had to meet a person because I bought this wine rack thing for Pam. We'd won it in a raffle. We supported a raffle for pancreatic cancer. We actually just happened upon it. I'm like, well, that's, cool. And we're the same. I mean, anything we can support, we're going to buy raffle tickets. I don't care if I win, whatever. I'll probably just give it back and tell you to raffle it off again or something. But anyway, I walked into the local pub right down there, right by Harbor Freight, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet, thank you. I was drawing a blank. I'm like, I know. So I walked in there, and the owner and he's always got a group of buddies that were in there. And they're all looking at me, and he's like, look, we're not staring. I'm just checking out your shirt. I said, well, I told him about it. I said, well, this is my friend's shirt. It's called, he makes jerky, and it's called That Bearded Jerk. And I said on the back, and I showed him the back, and they're like, that is so cool. I said, yeah. I said, all the proceeds going to help support St. Jude. I said, so we bought one of these shirts, and they really thought that was cool. And so my son this morning, he's like, Dad. I said, what? He goes, you got to let me know when they're getting the shirts again. The things are awesome. I got to have one. I said, okay, well, I'll let you know. We'll get one, not a problem. So they're eye catchers. People are asking questions about it, and that's what you want, So they're cool. They're a cool design. I really love them. And then you gave me your sticker this morning, which I think I like the face on that even better. That's really cool. And so why don't you tell them about kind of the concept of the picture or the shirt and then kind of what you were doing with the one with the glasses and stuff, because I think that's neat.
So on these shirts and above and beyond and the things we do with our colors and things, and we pick, I have a 69 Chevy truck, and it's an old patina kind of hot rod type of look, but it's got a green front end on it. And we were picking colors for the group, and my daughter decided that, she really liked this turquoise green color. Well, it just so happens that's the front end color of the truck. So that's where the base color for the shirt comes from, is, that original kind of off aqua green,
right,
blue.
Yeah.
So obviously with That Bearded Jerk, I needed a beard. I needed something for a logo that had a beard. And I didn't want to use. When I originally started the group, it did have like just a Pixar, Pinterest found bearded face, but that wasn't me. That wasn't the point of the group. That wasn't what we wanted to put out there. It was just something random. I could Google search that picture, and there's 50 other companies using that same picture. So I actually took a picture of myself and I transformed it into a logo picture with me wearing a pair of sunglasses. And actually, if you look at the picture, there's a lot of different things that you catch in it. Obviously, being That Bearded Jerk, there's a beard in it.
Right.
But I'm not smiling in the picture. It's kind of a jerk, just kind of a straight face, staring at you face. But one thing that most people don't realize when they catch it is, if you actually look at the picture, you can notice one side of my beard is actually narrower than the other. Mm-hmm. That narrow side of my beard is actually where I don't have a parotid gland in that side of my face.
So that's kind of the indication where you had that.
So that narrow side of the beard is where I have that divot in my neck, and you can see it in the stickers. You can see it in the pictures of the logo. Well, on the sunglasses themselves, they're just a black sunglass on the shirts, because when we were making the shirts, we needed just a basic concept logo. We couldn't go real in-depth detail on those ones at the beginning. But on the stickers themselves, I kind of transformed. And if you ever take a selfie of yourself, and you're wearing sunglasses, you can always see a reflection in what the sunglasses. It may be your hand holding a cell phone out. It may be, the steering wheel of your car you can see in the sunglasses. Well, what I did was I transposed the image of the St. Jude Praying Child logo into the glasses reflection. And it's one of those things where you got to look to catch it, because it's not just blatantly sitting out in your face that the St. Jude logo is there. It's just a part of the reflection. And that reflects back on what we do with St. Jude. And that's what we're looking at. And we're looking towards the future and what's in front of us and what we can do for the hospital and for the cause of saving the lives.
So where do you see this going? How big do you think you're going to get?
That's a really hard question, and that's not one that I was really prepared for, but I probably should be, because honestly, I don't know, because I'm already blown away with how big it's gotten in just a few months. Overall, I would like to find a way. Right now, I'm using we call it a commercial size dehydrator, but it's not really. It's a residential / commercial 10 rack. I would like to come up with a way to up my dehydrator sizes. And there's a couple that I'm eyeballing. I've got my eye out.
You're already looking, right?
I'm eyeballing, and I'm not going big and beyond with a full-size commercial kitchen with it, but I've got my eye on the next size, and it's a Cabela's 160L. I mean, and I can do all kinds of tons of beef jerky in this thing. It's huge. It's like the size of a mini fridge, but I'm already eyeballing, and I'd like to get maybe 2 more of those and just keep this going in the pace it is, because overall, I mean, we can brag about how good the jerky is, and I will brag, and I'll pat myself on the back, because, I mean, it is a delicious jerky, and it's so good.
Every review has been positive. There has not been one review that said it was not amazing.
And I will tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you what I don't like about jerky, about my flavors of jerky, before I even give it to you. You'll say you want a flavor, and I'm like, well, you can have this one, but, here's what I don't like. Whereas most people are like, oh, yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm very cynical of myself and critical of what I do, and I want to give you the best that I can possibly give. And don't get me wrong, I'm not just going to throw something in the garbage that could still raise me $10.
Well, yeah, why would you?
But at the same time, I'm very, very particular in what I do. So I want to move forward, and I want to keep doing what I'm doing, but I feel like the availability days are the best positive way to do it. We don't want to go commercial with it. I don't want to have it, something to where I'm always going to have a constant inventory available, because frankly, I don't have the time. I still work a full-time job, and I can't keep up with, just delivering to people or people picking up on a daily basis. But when we set up the availability days, I have the ability to control how many flavors and what I have. And then once it's gone, it's gone. And then I reset myself, and I can start over from scratch. This year, we would like to raise $15,000 for StJude. And again, we're just right over $11,000 right now. We plan on having hoodies available come early September. We're planning on having another T-shirt sale. We can donate $7 from every T-shirt and $10 from every hoodie sold. We're looking towards getting sponsors for the hoodies, and we're thinking along the lines of $100 per sponsor. And if we can get 6 sponsors, we can raise $600 right off the bat before we even put the hoodie money into it. So, there's different ways we're thinking to raise more money and to have different raffles and different things like that.
You're evolving. You're continuing evolving. That's awesome.
And the evolution comes from the support we've gotten from our friends, from our family, from word of mouth, because we've got people that come out and they'll drop $150 on jerky. They'll throw that $150 donation in, and to them, they're donating to StJude, but they're getting that. But to us, they're making that huge difference, and they're showing us how good this jerky is and how much they want to support our mission to help StJude. So it's a tough question to say how big it's going to be. It's kind of we'll see where this goes. I mean,
I think that's all you can do, right? I mean, because to your point, though, I mean, it does get to a point. It's like, well, I can't get any bigger because I just don't have that time, Right. So then it's, how do you evolve it to the next step? Do you get somebody to help you make jerky? But then you're like, well, I'm giving up part of my quality because, it's not me making it.
Right.
So I can see where all those things come up. And to your point, I can't quit my full-time job to make this my full-time job, because then it becomes not about StJude. It's about, I got to pay myself a salary, and then I've got to figure out how to pay, earn money for. So that's a whole nother set of problems for people.
And that's one of the things with the group that I absolutely love, that it's grown so far so fast, is it's not just about the jerky, it's about the cause, and everybody loves the fact of the cause that's there. But they're willing to be lenient with me on my times, and that's where availability day is somebody's not waiting on me to, fill an order for them. They're waiting on me to say, hey, let's raise some more money.
Well, it's the fairest way to do it.
Yeah, and it gives everybody a clean shot, clean,
first come, first serve, man.
First come, first serve. And I tell people all the time, and generally my availability days are on a Saturday morning, and they start at 8 a.m. and I'm up at 7:30, sitting at my computer just waiting, because as soon as 8:01 hits and that post goes live, it's an automatic post. I mean, we had to shut our phones off last time and reset them because it was overloading the phones, because I had message after message after message, and then people commenting, and it's constantly reloading where 7 or 8 comments got posted in the same second. I want this, I want this, I want this. And,
it's just a race, man. It's got to be exciting though.
Oh, it is. It's a blast to sit there and, I constantly update the group on, we have this many packs left, and this much is gone. And at 8:15, we're already at $400 raised for StJude. We're 15 minutes in it or something. It's just been a wild ride.
I think it'd be great if you could find a way to automate the purchase part of it, where when they jump on their first come, first serve, boom, they order, boom, it automatically deducts, it lets them know. I mean,
I've considered that, and I've looked into different avenues of doing that, but the downfall is everything, it comes back to they want fees.
Oh, yeah.
PayPal, you can set it up to where you have a certain quantity available, and, they just go through and they pay on PayPal, and it's done, but then they want a fee on it, or Etsy wants a fee, things like that. So the way we're doing it right now, we don't want to give up any more fees.
Yeah, because that's money coming away from the donation to StJude. It's taken away from the mission of what you're trying to get done.
Exactly. So that's where we're kind of focusing on what we do and sticking with the platform we've got. And I create spreadsheets and things like that to where all I got to do is type your name in, type 1 on 2 different flavors you want, and it automatically deducts out into the formula as to what I've got left. Unfortunately, people can't see that live, but I kind of keep up with them by the minute and let people know, hey, that one's sold out. Pick a different flavor if you want it.
Yeah.
And on flavors, we generally have about 8 to 12 flavors available at any given time. And some of our flavors are really far out there to where people are kind of like, I don't know about that one. But then we have ones that, are savory and things like that. So jalapeno Dr. Pepper. That is my number one. That is what the driving force is. If I could make 100 pounds a day, I think 100 pounds a day would be spoken for.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that because, man, everybody wants that one. That's like the one.
Jalapeno Dr. Pepper is made with actual Dr. Pepper. It's marinated in the soda. And then it's got a little bit of brown sugar, and then it's got the jalapeno powder. So it's got a nice slight kick to it. A lot of people shy away from the jalapeno, but it doesn't have the heat of a jalapeno. You get all the flavor, a slight kick, but then you get a savory sweet off of the sugar from the Dr. Pepper. But the acid in the soda actually breaks down the meat and makes it extremely tender no matter how dry it is.
Really?
So it's a really good one. Teriyaki is a really popular flavor. It's a little bit spicy. And then I've gotten into lemon pepper jerky, which at first was kind of just a risk batch that I took, and it turned into it being a really, really good one. It was one of the things where it had the tartness, but it also had the bite to the pepper.
Right.
My new flavors I just created, I've just gotten into pork jerky, which is a little bit tougher of a jerky, but pork holds flavor a lot more than beef even does. So I created a honey sriracha mango habanero pork jerky, and it almost candies as it dries. It gets a nice glaze on it, and it's nice and chewy. We do a sweet chili, which has no heat. It's more of like a sweet and sour from a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's really, really good and flavorful. My new one that's right now we're going to be dropping with this raffle we're doing for that kid place is Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary was a bone scratch recipe. I was sitting one day and I've been stewing over it for months. Like, how do I get this flavor into a piece of meat? So I got to thinking, and I love Bloody Mary. Zing Zang is my go-to Bloody Mary mix. And so I bought a bottle of Zing Zang and I just started playing with it. I added the Zing Zang. I added some pickle juice. I added some black pepper. I threw in some hot sauce, and then I marinated it, and it came out, and I mean, every single flavor of a Bloody Mary is in every single bite, and as you eat it, your mouth just starts watering for the next piece. You can't stay out of it, but it just doesn't have the vodka for the Bloody Mary.
No, the only thing it's missing, right?
I have done a sweet bourbon jerky. That was one of them that, I'll be honest, it wasn't the greatest, but it was more of a texture. All the flavor was there. We used a home brewed sweet bourbon. And then I smoked it and then dehydrated it. It came out real dry and brittle because that wasn't a process I'd ever done.
Yeah.
But I learned from it, and I'm looking forward to doing my next batch. I've done peach crown jerky where I marinated it in peach crown and you put some soy sauce in there, other flavorings, onion powder, garlic powder.
Don't give all your secrets away now.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the recipes. You can find recipes all over the internet.
Oh yeah. They're real easy.
But the processes that you take to make jerky, a lot of people don't want to take that time. It
takes time. It's not, you don't just make jerky in like a few hours. That's not how that works.
It's more of like a few day process.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time you cut the meat, I marinate all my meat for 60 hours. I have to flip it every 8 to 12 hours and remix it all up. And then it takes another 7 to 8 hours to dehydrate it. Then I have to air dry it overnight down to room temperature. And then the following day, then I package.
Yeah. I mean, everybody thinks, well, jerky's easy. No, it's not.
That's where all the memes on Facebook about jerky being too expensive. And it's like, I don't think you understand the processes of what it takes to.
Well, and I was going to talk about that a little bit. You look at the cost of beef jerky in the store. It's not too expensive what you're charging.
No. Because
the store jerky is expensive.
Right.
You're going to spend $14 on a bag of jerky.
Right.
Easy.
On a decent one. So
yeah.
when it comes to our suggested donations amount, we ask for beef jerky, we ask $10 per quarter pound. So that comes out to be $40 per pound of jerky. Quarter pound is the smallest increment that I will do. That's what all of my jerky, if you were to ask me for 2 pounds, you'd get 8 packs. It's the way I can keep things straight and not have to jump around. So you get 4 ounces pre-packaged dry weight jerky. You're getting a full 4 ounces. So you're going to pay $2.50 an ounce for that. A lot of times with your Jack Link's jerky, your other different brands that are out there, Old Trapper and things, you're right in line with that same price. You might pay $13 for 5 ounces, kind of thing. They all jump around, and that's why jerky seems so expensive. A lot of times on the handcrafted jerkies, you're looking at $60 to $80 a pound. I didn't want to do that because I wanted more people. I figured I could bring in a group of people that are more willing to donate $40 for a pound than 1 or 2 guys that are willing to give $60 or $80 a pound.
Yeah.
So I wanted to keep it fair for everyone, and I wanted to keep the interest there, and that's kind of where the donation strategy comes from. And frankly, again, it's been magical for us. It's blown up and it's done great things, and we look forward to keep going. And I'm looking to extend myself into every other types of meat. Like I said, I'm doing beef, I'm doing pork, I've done duck jerky, I've done venison jerkies, things like that.
Nice.
I'd like to get into some snow goose. I'd like to try rabbit, squirrel, and just try different palates and things, because every jerky comes out with a different texture, with a different flavor. We do everything from the hottest of the hot. So let's talk hot. If you like heat at all, you've got to try Stupid, or we like to call
I
it
love the
Cupid, or Stupid Cubed is what it's actually, the short form of it. S3 is another thing that people call it. Now, where this comes from is I had somebody ask me for the hottest jerky I could possibly make, and I got my hands on some fresh Carolina Reaper peppers.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am not doing that.
Well, it's evolved even more so that now we're into Stupid Cubed 2.0, where I've evolved the recipe one step farther. So as it is, I started out with a nice teriyaki base. So everybody loves teriyaki. Teriyaki is a base flavor jerky, and it was one of my popular flavors. So I went to the store and I got fresh jalapenos, fresh habaneros, and fresh Reapers from a friend, and I added them to this marinade. Well,
I've seen the picture.
And then I turned around and I had somebody give me Trinidad Scorpion and Carolina Reaper powder.
Oh my God.
So then I added this to the mix and I put it together. And as I'm making this marinade, I flat out said, this is stupid, stupid, stupid. My lips were burning. My eyes were twitching. I mean, just overall, the heat in the air had my face tingling. And it's like, this is wild. Like, this is craziness.
Whoever can eat that, you are probably the toughest person out there.
and actually, I'm not an extreme heat person, but
I'm not either.
This jerky has so much flavor that it's hard for me to put it down. The other day, I was eating a piece, and I ended up having to pick up a fresh cucumber and eat it whole just to get rid of the heat. But it was so flavorful, I couldn't stop. So it's evolved past it. I'm having a hard time finding fresh Carolina Reapers. I'm trying to grow them myself right now, but they're not a readily available pepper that you can just buy at the store. That's something you got to get from a specialty. So what we did was we evolved it, and we took the fresh Carolina Reapers out. So we still use the fresh jalapenos, habaneros, and the Trinidad Scorpion and Carolina Reaper powder. But now I use pure ghost pepper extract, and I put 3 drops in an entire batch of pure ghost pepper extract. Now, 1 or 2 pieces, your eyes start watering and things like that. But if you pay attention to the group, it's a huge hit. I mean, anybody that likes heat, they're saying this is where it's at. That flavor is got to be the gold mine, because it's got flavor, it's got heat. A lot of times when you get into that hot, you lose all flavor.
Yeah, it just becomes hot.
It just becomes hot and it becomes miserable, but not with this. I mean, it becomes savory. And I mean, you get that full teriyaki base, but you get that kick in the backside. I'm
going to take their word for it. I'm not going to experiment. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm with you. I'm not a big, I like a little bit of heat, a little kick. I'm good with that. But I watched some of these. I tried at B-Dubs,
mm-hmm.
I tried the ghost pepper one that they had.
Right.
Because I told him my goal is to have every flavor there. And I have. I did every single one. One bite of that ghost pepper one they have, I was done. I was sweating. I got lightheaded. I turned pale. I'm like, that's too hot for me. I couldn't do it.
It's funny you say that because I'm not one to make something and not be willing to do it myself. So every batch of jerky I make, that's the jerky I get to eat. I get to sample a piece. That's how I know texture, and that's how I know it's finished. So I'll take 1 piece from every batch, and I get to pop that in my mouth while it's still warm right out of the dehydrator and try it. And that's how a lot of cooks do. If you ever watch the movies, that sauce chef from the Italian kitchen, he's got a spoon, and he's got to taste it to make sure it's right. So I wish my wife were in here because she thought it was hilarious, and she giggled herself on it. I popped a piece of the S3 in my mouth while I was pulling it out of the dehydrator, and I had to yell for her. And I'm like, "Can you bring me something to drink? I feel like I'm gonna pass out right now." Like this is it made me lightheaded, and my endorphins were spiked through the roof, and that's what a lot of heat does to someone. Is it's your body fighting that battle, and it thinks it's under attack, so it spikes your endorphins, and you can actually get drunk off of your endorphins.
Oh my god!
So I mean, it was so hot though. Like I popped it in my mouth, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna pass out right now. This is terrible.
Oh yeah.
Like, how do people do this? And then I've got friends that they've been extremely supportive, and they're like, man, this has got great flavor, but you know what it could use? It could use a little hot sauce poured on it. And I'm like, all right, you're crazy. Like,
there's something wrong with you, but okay, if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, you see them people out there, and you'll watch those competitions on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever, where they're doing those peppers, and then they get in there and they talk about the heat of them. I'm like, I'm just not doing that.
It's a why.
Yeah,
it's like why.
Why would you hurt yourself like that?
Who hurt you as a child?
Yeah. Well, man, I'm going to tell you, I think what you're doing is fantastic. I'm glad to see that it's grown as quick as it has. I think the mission is critically important, and your passion for it shows. And I'm going to continue to support you in any way I can. Do you know when your next availability day is? Or
right now, I'm currently 100% out of jerky. We wanted to start fresh, so I cleared out all inventory. We are hoping for early September. that just goes as to I'm back to a full-time job now that we're not under shelter in place in quarantine. So I'm making it as fast as I can. I've got 30 pounds of meat sitting marinating right now that I'm waiting on. I'll end up cutting 15 more pounds tonight and get it marinating for a batch on Tuesday. I'm hoping for early September, and we're hoping to make it maybe a $2,000 to $3,000 availability day and try and put it out there, to where we can get as much raised as possible.
I think you're going to hit your goal this year. I have no doubt about that. I mean, everybody's raving on there. It sells out as soon as you do it. I mean, you've got to be on the spot to get it. I've seen this T-shirt sales did fantastic. There's people from Missouri, and I mean, one guy was represented, I think, from Arkansas or something. Or
we've shipped to Mississippi, Alabama, Wisconsin, and Indiana now. And again, this is a fundraising group. We ask that people, come and pick up the jerky because obviously we got to spend gas to go deliver it. And that's even more money out of pocket on top of everything else. But we can make arrangements if we can get a lot of people together and, pick it up at one location.
One common area and everybody just meets there.
But if somebody does want it shipped, I can ship it, but we ask that they pay true shipping amount. We accept PayPal, Venmo, straight StJude site donation, or cash. We can make that cash donation as well. But yeah, we're extending to outside of the Central Illinois area, and the name is getting big. We're planning on having another go at T-shirts. We're going to have those hoodies coming up in September. We're going to have that raffle that we got going where we've got some different things that have been donated to us to try and raise even a little bit more money as it is. And that's where we're kind of extending past just the jerky, but the jerky is a major driving force in it. So if you want to check out the group, just remember it's That Bearded Jerk. There is a jerky group out there called the Bearded Jerk, but it's got like 10 people following it. And it was established in 2013. So,
so again, people, it's That Bearded Jerk. Look for it on Facebook.
Correct.
And just ask to join. You approve it. They can get in there, take a look, participate in the group, make comments, ask questions. When the T-shirts come up, they can get their orders in. Same with the hoodies. There's stickers available right now. Man, you just got a lot going on.
It's been a whirlwind. We've had a lot of people ask different questions, and it's hard to say no to people. Frankly, the stickers, when I started, I had a friend ask if I had a sticker that he could have for his tumbler or his water flask. And the wife said absolutely not. So that night, obviously, I ordered stickers.
You did what every husband would do. You ordered them anyway, right?
Yeah, I went ahead and ordered them anyway, and they've been a huge success. People love them. They love supporting.
They're amazing,
and they love sticking them on their cars or again on their tumblers, their water flasks, their laptops, things like that. So actually that kid place is putting a sticker on the back of his mobile museum with my face on it. So you get to see my beautiful face every time you look at the sticker.
I'm just imagining that on a billboard.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind for us. So we'll continue to keep going. We'll continue to keep growing, and we want people to be as active as possible. Even if, you see a post in the group and you want to be in the group, give it a like. We want to see how many people are out there. We, on average, have about 30 to 50 comments on most of our posts. But the more people that comment and like it, the more people that see it, and we can get the word out. I will say that I don't like Facebook's algorithms because some people don't even see the posts, even though they're in the group.
Yeah.
So the more activity we get in the group, the more we're able to share the cause and what we're doing, and people can see what's happening. So I'm really excited for it, and I look forward to seeing what happens. And I'm just excited that people want to see my face. I mean, it's kind of a
cool,
whirlwind.
Man. Yeah, it's neat. It's like almost like a little local celebrity status going on, which is awesome. But the most important part is the mission that it's supporting, right?
Right.
And the goal, and that's a huge sacrifice of your time. You and your wife's and your kids' time, because that's a lot of work, right? And you're just asking for people to donate to care about kids.
Right.
And that is probably one of the most selfless things somebody could do. And you deserve a lot of recognition for that. So I hope this thing blows up. I hope everybody recognizes that your face with that big old beard you got, and they get out there and they realize it's more than, like you said, it's more than just the beard, but that beard is what got you through,
Exactly.
Because that one comment your scout leader made to you, and now look what it's done years later. So that's an amazing story. And man, I really do appreciate you coming on here and sharing that with us because, I obviously am going to support this no matter what. But I think it's a critical, important mission. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate all the support and we appreciate you having us and, hearing the story and letting us get the word out there and helping us extend past our local network. And
again, I'll get it edited. It'll go out Tuesday. I release Tuesday mornings. The last couple of weeks, I just have not had much luck getting schedules aligned with people because, everybody's working. I work full time. So it's like, when can we do this? And it's what we've been talking about this for weeks. I think,
Right.
We finally got it figured out when we could get it done. So that's awesome. So in closing, you got any last comments you want to make to anybody or anything?
I'd like to say eating jerky, saving lives. Use that hashtag, blow it up. We want to see it out there. I know we sold 54 shirts, but I'd love to sell another 100. I want to see people randomly in public with my face on their shirt. We want to get the name out there and we want to use the cause and extend it. Support your local, even if you're not supporting that bearded jerk. Right now, through everything, St. Jude is hurting for donations as bad as it is. And they don't want to have to ask for money from people. They want it to just be there when they need it. So if you've got a runner that's a friend that's a runner or a Corvette driver or, kids are doing mathematics or things like that, support the cause and please help us extend this further and support the hospital because that's truly what matters. We can talk about that bearded jerk. We can talk about all the things that we do, but what really matters is just flat out supporting St. Jude and supporting their mission to save kids' lives.
I couldn't even said it any better. So remember, everybody, eating jerky, saving lives. Let's get the word out. Let's support St. Jude. And I want to thank you again. I really appreciate you being on the show.
We appreciate it too.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon. All right, everybody. You guys take care.